What can just one day, a single 24-hour span of the Earth, tell us about the state of our entire world? Well, we're about to find out. We are going to freeze the clock on February 16th, 2026 to map out all the hidden pressures and the fractures that are shaping our planet, one headline at a time. I know. It sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, right? But the answer, believe it or not, tells us something absolutely fundamental about the world we're all living in right now. Every single one of these stories, from the huge, world-changing events to the ones that seem kind of trivial, they're all clues. They help us map the fault lines, the fractures and the pressures that are building up just under the surface of our world. Okay, let's dive into this, starting with the most visible crack of all. So first up, we're looking at this constant, incredibly dangerous dance between outright, brutal conflict and the desperate, ongoing attempt to talk our way out of it.
Our day starts with a brutal flashpoint in Sudan's ongoing civil war. A drone hits a crowded market. And look, this isn't just some abstract headline. It's a gut-punch reminder of the immediate human price that gets paid when words fail and violence just rushes in to fill that void.
28 people killed. 28 lives just gone in an instant. This number, it's not a statistic. It is the reality of a flashpoint. And then you jump thousands of miles away, and on the very same day, the battlefield in Ukraine is just constantly turning. Russia's claiming new ground over here, while Ukrainian drones are striking back with, devastating effect over there. It's this non-stop, brutal back and forth of modern war.
But, and this is the part that's kind of wild, this perfectly shows the paradox we're talking about. At the exact same moment that soldiers are fighting and dying, diplomats are gathering in Geneva. The Kremlin is actually expanding its team for peace talks. It just goes to show you, even in the absolute heat of war, that door to negotiation, it's never completely shut.
And this whole dynamic, it's not just happening in Ukraine. On this one day, the US and Iran are back at it with tense, indirect talks. A really hard deadline is being set for disarmament in Lebanon, and billions of dollars are being pledged for Gaza's future. All over the planet, words are being used as weapons, as shields, and as tools for rebuilding, all at the same time. So that brings us to our next major fault line. Because beyond the battlefield, you've got these incredible power plays and policy decisions that are quietly, but definitely, shaping what the future global order is going to look like.
Here's a perfect example of what they call soft power. It's not a threat, it's not a treaty, it's an invitation. Right in the middle of all this talk about tension, China makes this strategic gesture of openness. They're hoping to win influence with tourists and business deals, not just with military muscle. It's a different kind of power play. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it shows a fault line not between countries, but right down the middle of one. At the Munich Security Conference, you have two very powerful American voices, Marco Rubio and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and they are laying out completely opposite visions for America's role in the world. This internal fight, between intervention and diplomacy, it sends these unpredictable tremors through all of global politics. And all this leads to a new, and honestly pretty unsettling question. We've talked about physical battlefields, and we've talked about diplomatic ones. But what happens when the battlefield itself becomes invisible? When it becomes digital and is powered by artificial intelligence?
On February 16th, this new kind of chilling phrase enters the global conversation: AI-driven interventionism. It's all coming from these allegations that the Pentagon is using advanced AI for operations targeting Venezuela. And let's be clear, this is not science fiction anymore. We are now officially in an age where algorithms can shape foreign policy and the actual rules of war are being rewritten in code.
But look, the fault lines of our world aren't just political or military, right? They also run straight through our culture, our anxieties, and the things that we as people choose to care about. The story of this one day is also told in what we mourn and, what we celebrate.
On this day, the world lost an absolute legend. The actor Robert Duvall passed away at 95. And this line, from one of his greatest roles, just feels like a perfect tribute. It's a great reminder of the wisdom and the cultural memory that really shapes who we are. Okay, now just look at this number. $16.4 million. What on earth could possibly be worth that much? Is it some new weapon system? A giant humanitarian aid package? A lost masterpiece painting? What is it? Nope. It's the new world record price for a Pokemon card. On the very same day that billions are being pledged to rebuild cities and lives are being lost in conflict, a little piece of cardboard from the 90s sells for over 16 million bucks. I mean, that is a powerful statement about where we put our value, in nostalgia, in rarity, and in these cultural touchstones.
And of course, woven through the whole day are these constant tremors of modern life. A new virus puts the entire world's health systems on alert, a sudden reminder of our own biological fragility. A humanitarian crisis gets deeper in Ukraine as the cold sets in. You know, the real human cost of war. And around the world, people gather to remember Alexei Navalny, a powerful testament to the idea that dissent never truly dies.
So, okay, after that whirlwind tour of just a single day on planet Earth, what's the big picture? How in the world do we connect all of these seemingly random dots?
So, the crucial point is, when you look back on the day, you see these aren't separate stories at all. They're all just vibrations along the same hidden fault lines. You've got that raw tension between war and words. You've got the rise of technology as a whole new type of power. You've got the deep internal splits that can crack a nation from the inside out. And you have the undeniable power of culture to decide what we really value, in ways that are just as profound as any treaty or law.
These are the fractures running through our world on February 16, 2026. Drone strikes and diplomatic meetings, billion-dollar promises and million-dollar Pokemon cards. They're all just tremors along the very same fault lines. The only question left is, which one is going to break first?